One of the important areas of Sacred Heart University's commitment to our students is the ability for our students to be encouraged to get involved as much as they can during their 4 years of undergrad. And one of the things that makes us so special is that there are many different opportunities for students to get involved. So talk about the involvement aspects and student activities here at Sacred Heart University is Director of Student Activities, Amy Novak. How are you, Amy?
Good, how are you?
Good. So can you quickly just start off by talking about the philosophy of the importance of students getting involved on campus?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things that we want to make sure our students are doing is that they're having a well-rounded experience while here at Sacred Heart. And the way to do that is to make sure they're getting involved outside of the classroom. While their first priority are their classes and focusing on that, we understand that in order for them to do well with their studies in and out of the classroom, they also need that time to relax and really focus on taking some breaks mentally, physically, and all of that. And getting involved in what we offer, whether it's clubs or organizations or even just attending events. It could be a 20-minute event, but it's a great break. It allows for that time away from their studies. But one of the other great things that we love about that is it provides them with some networking opportunities and a social connection. We understand that a lot of our students are leaving home for the first time. And so it's important for them to try to instill some new relationships and really start to put themselves out of their comfort zone and meet new people to make this an experience that they can look back on and be proud of and happy with.
These students I know are by the time they leave high school and go to college, they're going to hear a million times from their parents, their friends, you got to get involved. And
right.
That sometimes falls on deaf ears, but it's really important for students to get involved.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes it can be a thought of, I'm going to get involved in so many things, but we want to make sure that students are taking it one step at a time. The transition alone is an involvement experience, really trying to navigate their way through classes, the college life, and we at least know that we can be a constant and something that can be comfortable, and whether it's students, upperclassmen, or even staff, guiding them and giving them those opportunities, we can provide them with a lot of different variables.
So, there's many different areas of involvement on the campus. So whether or not, you had mentioned a couple clubs and organizations,
right.
We have an expansive performing arts program, Greek life, athletics, club sports. There's something for everybody here.
Yeah.
But let's go down to the clubs and organizations. How many clubs and organizations, or a number of clubs and organizations are currently on campus?
We have, I would say, probably over 50 clubs and organizations, and about half of those are academic organizations.
Because most of the majors on campus have some sort of academic club associated with them, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Which is one of those things that we really encourage our students to do is, if you're thinking about any type of involvement, maybe first look to see if there's one in your academic program, because it's going to provide you so many different connections and opportunities to learn and grow outside of the classroom environment, I would say.
Now for students coming in, a lot of stress that first couple days, that first couple weeks, but there is something special that we offer within the first few days for them to see all these. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we provide what we call an involvement fair. It's called Just SHU It, and this fair is out on our quad. We've actually grown to a larger space because we have so many opportunities for our students to get involved. And there will be representation from every club and organization, club sports, performing arts, our wellness center, and volunteer programs. There's pretty much someone there representing those areas for everyone, so they can really start to walk around, find out what these organizations do, when do they meet, how do they join? And at least for our area, with all of our clubs and organizations, students are able to join those at any point during their time. Okay. So if they want to take a week or two or maybe a month to really start to get connected and relaxed, they can do that. We just encourage them to get involved in at least one or two things within their first semester.
Yeah, and then this Just SHU It Fair provides that opportunity to see everything right up front.
Yes, and one of the great things too is that through our first year experience courses that our first year students take, this is one of the activities that they can get involved with by going to this fair, and it kind of puts them into that situation to see what's available right from the start. So we make sure we do that during the first week of school.
Okay. One of the areas that you oversee is the student government aspect. And we have a very comprehensive student government / leadership program here at Sacred Heart. So talk a little bit about what that entails, and then how students can get involved with student government, even as a freshman.
Absolutely. Our student government organization is one, just like our clubs that we offer too, is student-led. We as staff advise them, but they are the ones who are really out there working with the students and making sure that they can provide an experience for the students while they're here, listening to any suggestions, concerns, and whatnot. But one of the biggest things that we really love is the class unity that student government provides. So it is their responsibility to connect with their peers within their class and really find different ways for them to get together and do social activities, but also they're very big on volunteering and doing service on and off campus.
Okay. Now, one of the entities of the student government area is the student events team.
Yes.
Which provides many of the activities that our students get to do on a daily basis. So talk about their role and then some of the activities that our students get to do on campus.
They are one of the biggest groups that we have on campus, and it's a very fun experience for our students. They are the ones who are planning everything. We're there to help support and guide them, but we want to make sure that students are doing events that they are interested in. What we thought was great, maybe 5-10 years ago, isn't the most popular thing anymore.
Exactly.
So they get to plan. They meet weekly to discuss different opportunities, and one of the biggest events that we have on campus every month is bingo. Believe it or not, it is actually very popular.
It's a tradition at Sacred Heart. Bingo has been around for a while, and
Yes.
it's not your grandmother's bingo, but
No.
it's a lot of fun.
It's pretty cool. We pack about 400, 500 students on average each month in our theater, and we give away some pretty great prizes.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So you may walk away with something really fun, and it's free. All of our events that the student events team provides is free to our full-time undergraduate students. If they do trips off campus where they offer trips to Broadway or an amusement park or shopping, there may be a small fee added onto that, but the students, if you are here, we want you to attend all of our events, and we don't want there to be any limitations with that.
One of the biggest events that our students get to enjoy almost every year is the university's concert.
Yes.
Most of the time is held in the spring semester, but we do also sometimes offer, on occasion, a fall concert as well. Can you talk about some of the artists that we've had over the last couple of years?
Absolutely. We have had so many great artists. Last year we had Khalid on campus. We've had the Chainsmokers. We've had Steve Aoki. Let's see, the Black Eyed Peas quite a while ago. Maroon 5. Flo Rida. He put on one of the best shows that we've actually had.
Wiz Khalifa.
Yes, Kid Cudi.
Yeah, so in a different variety, you know, and we've even had country before.
Yes.
So
my favorite.
Yeah, so there are all different types of music, and that's something that our students look forward to all the time, and getting to go to those concerts as well. One of the areas that's important to Sacred Heart, because in 1963 when we opened, we were founded as a commuter institution.
Yes.
And we stayed commuter until 1990 when we first opened our first residence hall, but we have a legacy of commuting students that live in the area. So you could talk a little bit about how our students who may be considering commuting will get involved on campus and what resources are available for them.
So we look at it as the only difference between a commuter student and a resident student is where you sleep at night. And if our students are going into their academic year with that mindset, they're going to have the same experience that our residential students are having. Everyone's equal in that playing field. We want to make sure that all the events and our students are getting connected. So what we do is we encourage all of our students to get involved by going to the fair. The student events team is one of the biggest organizations to get involved with, and they meet once a week. So maybe that is a decision that you decide once a week I'm going to come back for a club meeting, and maybe 1 or 2 events. Events are during the day as well, so we understand that some of our commuter students may only be on campus during the day. So we make sure that we provide a variety of different things throughout the day, night, and weekend. We just want our students to find their niche and really socialize and get connected with other students. And as commuter, we understand that they may not have a resident hall director or somebody that they can reach out to outside of their professors. So that's where my office comes in, and we connect with them throughout the year, checking in, seeing how everything's going, and try to do some meetings with the students or even some virtual social media type connections to really kind of keep up with the way our students are communicating.
Okay. So all the information about how to get involved on campus and to see a listing of clubs and organizations can be found on our website at sacredheart.edu. We're going to put the link here on the bottom of the screen for you, so you'll be able to go right to the website to check that out. And we hope that when you decide that being a pioneer is the right fit for you, that you will get involved with many of the different opportunities that we have here at Sacred Heart. So we thank the Director of Student Activities, Amy Novak, for joining us today and sharing all this information with us. And we hope to see you on campus soon. Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
One of the important areas for us here at Sacred Heart University is to make sure that your transition from high school to college is as seamless and as comfortable as possible. So we put a lot of effort into making sure that your time between senior year graduation and when you arrive as a freshman provides a lot of information for you, and then also that your first few months on campus are filled with a lot of opportunities for you to get involved and to learn more about the university and yourself. So to talk about the transition aspects of the university, we are joined by the Associate Dean of Students here at Sacred Heart University, Denise Tiberio. Hi, Denise.
Hi.
So Denise, first of all, let's talk about the importance of a smooth transition for students in making their decision to come to Sacred Heart and then finally arriving on campus.
Well, one of the things that we know is that it is a huge transition for students as they change over from high school to college, and we are committed to making it as easy as we can for everyone. And we start that with our orientation program. Our orientation program is a 2-day overnight program that will start in June. But what our first step in all of this transition process is what will happen is once you deposit with Sacred Heart University, you will receive a mailing. It will talk about the All Access Pass. Our All Access Pass gives you 6 simple steps, which will highlight what you need to do prior to coming to Sacred Heart University. And what it does is it helps you have a place and an opportunity to ask all your questions, but it also allows you to set up everything that you need to do, and you're fully aware of all of your deadlines, all of the commitments that you need to fulfill prior to coming to our campus in August.
Is the orientation program solely for students, or are parents also invited to attend?
So our orientation program is required for students. All of our first year students must come to one of our programs, but we also offer a parent guardian program that is simultaneous but separate. So these 2-day programs, the students will arrive on campus with their parents, and then they will be brought and put into groups with orientation leaders, and the parents will also be having brought into their own session with parents. We have a jam-packed 2 days worth of sessions, and we feel that we provide ample opportunity for questions, and then we give you guidance and tours and give you all the information that you need. So it's for both the parents and
you're going to walk out with as much information as possible.
Yes.
About the university. The students must live on campus during orientation.
Mm-hmm. All students are required, whether you're a commuter or a resident student, you're required to stay overnight. Our goal is to provide a community atmosphere and allowing everyone to meet fellow classmates within the class of 2024. So regardless if you're a resident student, this is a great opportunity for you to possibly meet a fellow roommate or somebody that's going to be your best friend for the next 4 years. But for a commuter student, it's also going to have you, it's going to provide you the opportunity to feel comfortable in our resident halls and become aware of all of the opportunities that you have open to you as well as a commuter student, but also we want you to meet your fellow classmates and get engaged with them as well.
For orientation, one of the biggest aspects of that is the integration of orientation leaders, which helps with the transition. Can you talk a little bit about what those students do and how they will interact with the incoming students at orientation?
So we have a pretty selective orientation leader process throughout the course of the second semester of an academic year. So during our spring semester, we host interviews and we select orientation leaders, and typically we select anywhere between 40 to 45 orientation leaders that will provide you guidance and information throughout the course of our orientation programs. So during the orientation program, all students will be divided into groups of about 20 to 25 students, and you will be assigned an orientation leader that will be your guide for the 36 hours that you're on campus. Our orientation leaders go through about a 2-week training process where they are given all the types of information from the various departments on campus. So if you don't know how to answer a question, our orientation leaders know how to find you the answer. And I think that's one of the most important pieces, is that they understand the resources on campus and they're there to help throughout your process. Our orientation leaders also serve as what we call FYE assistants, so they will be with you throughout the course of your first 8 weeks onto campus.
So to learn more about the orientation programs, you can visit our website at www.sacredheart.edu/orientation. One of the areas after orientation that is important to us as well is making that smooth transition into freshman year, which begins the moment these students will get on campus in August of their transition to freshman year. So can you talk about those first couple days and what students can expect?
Sure. One of the pieces of information that you're going to get over the summer is going to reference what's called Welcome Weekend. This weekend is available to all and required to all first-year students, whether you're a resident or commuter. For resident students, you'll be given your move-in time and then what required events that you need to attend. For commuter students, you'll be given your check-in time for the weekend and what required events that you need to attend. During that weekend, you will have the opportunity to meet your first-year experience instructor. You'll have the opportunity to meet your first-year experience assistant, and you'll also have the opportunity to meet fellow classmates, and you'll be in some academic sessions. So that's pretty much what you're going to look towards on the first 2 days of class, on your first 2 days on campus.
So one of the things that I know that you started this past year, which hopefully continues as a tradition, is what we're calling the first 50 days. Can you talk a little bit about that program?
Sure. We know that the first 50 days is an integral time in a student's transition process into college. So what we've asked the university to do is to provide and to supplement to our office all of the programs that they already provide for our incoming students to ease their transition into college. And what we did was we compiled all those programs and put them in one booklet called the First 50 Days. So last year, the first year of our program, we had over 450 programs that were offered during the first 50 days. And I could tell you our students really enjoyed most of the programs, but it was nice because it was consolidated into one piece of information and they knew where to reference. But we also start off our first 50 days on the Sunday night of our welcome weekend. And we created a new tradition last year, and the tradition that we wanted was to signify the start of the first 50 days program, and that was we lit our bell tower of our chapel red, and it was lit red for the first 50 days of the first semester.
A few moments ago, you mentioned during Welcome Weekend about the first year experience instructor and assistant, and can you talk a little bit more about the first year experience class that students will be taking during the first semester?
Sure. Our first year experience is facilitated by various staff members on campus, and this is held weekly throughout the course of the first 9 to 10 weeks of your academic fall semester. This class is a series of topics that we hope will help guide you and direct you throughout the course of your first semester at Sacred Heart. I know I mentioned that it was facilitated by staff members, but I think the key component to our class, it's also co-facilitated by the FYE assistants, who are the students that also served as your orientation leaders. We team teach that because we feel that one of the most important components is for us to facilitate it in a way that to come from the student perspective. So we are talking about various topics, helping to, like I said, to guide you through what we consider is a transitional time that we need to provide you those resources.
One of the things that we said at the beginning is that it is important for us here at the university for you to have a smooth and successful transition from high school into Sacred Heart. And I hope that this provided some information to you and your parents about how Sacred Heart is going to address this transition. So we thank the Associate Dean of Students, Denise Tiberio, for joining us, and we hope to see you on campus soon. One of the more popular areas for Sacred Heart University over the last 10 years has been the growth of our club sports programs. And to talk a little bit more about the club sports opportunities here at Sacred Heart is the Director of Club Sports, Raymond. How are you, Ray?
phenomenal, Rob. Glad to be here with you.
All right. So Ray, you took over the program just about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And in that time, can you talk about the growth of the program and how it fits on campus here at Sacred Heart?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the unique things that we have as a program is really when we started, there was no club sports department. It was just a few organizations that were men's and women's rugby, the dance team, club baseball just started off. We really only had 4 sports, but there was a growth there where we wanted to include more students and give students the opportunity to play and compete at a sport. You know, maybe they love Sacred Heart because it was a beautiful campus, but they weren't a Division I caliber athlete, or they didn't feel like they could commit the time to a Division I program, and they still wanted to compete.
Yep.
And we went from 4 sports and about 150 students to the next year having 16 sports and over 400 athletes, to this year where we have 35 sports and over 1,000 club sports student athletes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you quickly just explain the difference between our varsity Division I, club sports, and then also intramurals?
Absolutely. So in a varsity level sport, you know, you're going to have a large commitment. You know, there is no real off season. You're going to have a commitment to practicing, playing, and there is a big piece of responsibility, and you are representing the school. A lot of students, you know, they'll get, you know, scholarships, some are walk-ons, but there is still that same level of commitment no matter who you are. And there's also a commitment in the classroom and doing study hall hours.
Okay.
Club sports is going to be a lot less of a commitment, and the competition level is obviously not going to be as high. Typically, teams are going to practice anywhere between 2 and 4 times a week. Games and practices, you know, games are always on the weekends.
Yeah.
Practice are usually during the week. So it really should never interfere with class. Class is always going to be your number one priority. We don't tell anyone they should make their class schedule around their club sports practice schedule or a game schedule. But you do have coaches.
Yeah.
You do have an athletic trainer. So there is a level of competition, and we like to equate ourselves to, you know, a Division II or Division III program for most of our sports, and that's the kind of caliber athlete we have. And intramurals is really Sacred Heart students playing and competing against Sacred Heart students on our campus in the Valentine Recreation Center.
Okay. Let's talk about the process of becoming a club sport athlete. So if a student's out there saying, you know, this is something I really want to do, or maybe gets to campus and realizes that they want to be in club sports, what's that process?
You know, the first thing I always tell everybody is to make sure you're in contact with the coaches. And now is even a great time to go onto our website, which is just sacredheartclubsports.com. Reach out to the coach for the team and tell them that you're interested. And you can find out a little bit more about the schedule, you know, how the team did this year, how the team's done in the past. And you could even ask to speak with a current student on the team so that you could get their perception of how things are going. As soon as you get to campus, we will send out emails, and hopefully the coaches will be in contact with all the incoming students, you know, before they even arrive on campus. But once you get on campus, if you miss those emails or you decide, you know, you want to try a new sport, maybe you decided that you wanted to try gymnastics after you'd never done it before, or you want to try cheer after you've never done it before. You know, there's always those opportunities. So what we'll do is we'll have a meeting for each individual team to kind of lay out the groundwork of everything you need to do to, you know, from your athletic training forums to any signing up on Do Sports Easy, and kind of giving you the idea of what is to kind of come over the next, you know, really could be 2 months, it could be the next 8 months, you know, depending on the team and when their season starts. But we want to make sure we have that opportunity for everybody to try, and, you know, even if you decide in September you want to try something new, there's going to be that time.
Right. Can you talk about some of the sports that are unique to Sacred Heart?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, as I mentioned, we have 35 different sports. So, you know, while we do have your traditional baseball, basketball, soccer, softball, we also have figure skating, which has gone to the national championship the last 2 years. Our dance team competes every single year in Daytona. They've finished as high as 4th in the nation before. Mm-hmm. We also just started a chess team this year. So we also have esports. Esports has had a ton of success, and hopefully we're going to continue to grow that program. Yeah. But there are a lot of unique sports. You know, we've started badminton and dodgeball and climbing because of the climbing wall in the Valentine Center. And, you know, we're always open to starting new things as well. So, you know, coming down the pike, we definitely will be adding some sports. But, you know, definitely for anyone's interested, the best way to take a look at all of our sports is just going to our website and checking out, you know, when you hit the teams link, it comes to a drop-down menu. You could click on anything you want to try.
Okay. You just mentioned a minute ago about some of the success that the teams have had. I know some of your teams have even gone on to national championships.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that success over the last couple of years?
Absolutely. Our club football team won a national championship in 2017. It was, in every year since we've basically been to the national championship playoffs. So, we've had a lot of success with that program. The dance team, gymnastics, figure skating, softball, we've all had gone to national championships. Men's soccer went to their first regional championship this year in Pennsylvania. So every year we've had a minimum of 5 teams competing at a national championship level, and typically we get about 8 to 12 who are going to make at least regional or divisional championships. So
Okay.
our teams have had a lot of success.
Can you talk about some of the schools that you can end up playing? I know it varies by sport,
Yeah.
but what are some of the named schools that we compete against?
One of the cool things is that when we started the program, 10 plus years ago now, I used to tell everybody that we would compete basically from maybe New Hampshire to maybe Delaware, Maryland area.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of global. Rugby went to Ireland 2 years ago. Kind of mentioned some of those other programs where figure skating was in Colorado last 2 years ago. This year, the national championship was in Minnesota.
Okay.
So we do go to those places, but our frequent opponents, we are playing usually bigger schools. So we're playing against UConn and Rutgers and even some local schools like Quinnipiac and New Haven. But pretty much any university, we've probably, in the Northeast, we've probably played them in some sport. But, again, we see the UConns of the world a lot, Boston College, Boston University, Northeastern. So we kind of hit up all those areas.
How many students right now would you say are currently involved in club sports?
We have over 1,000 students that are current Sacred Heart students who are involved in club sports this year.
Okay.
And we expect that number to continue to grow.
Is there a tryout process? Is there a walk-on process for club sport? How does that work?
That's a great question. While we don't really ever want to cut people from teams, a lot of times our leagues, depending on the sport, will restrict the number of people that can be on the league roster. So what we do in those sports is that we might have a tryout, but it's going to be based upon kind of where you might fall, whether you're on the roster, whether you're on a practice squad, whether you're on a second team. So, we don't typically want to cut people, but we do have tryouts where we also might have a travel roster. So there's a bunch of variables that kind of take place right when the sport starts. And, again, that shouldn't dissuade anyone from trying out and participating because you might have a hidden talent you didn't know about.
All right. Are there any costs associated with club sports?
Yes, most of our teams have dues. We keep dues extremely low in comparison to everyone else. It's just really to help defray some of the cost of equipment, transportation, and whatnot. The university picks up about 85% of the cost. The remaining 15% is usually between fundraising and dues. Some of our teams don't pay dues, and in lieu of dues, that they fundraise extra money. So
Okay.
there is a small cost. Generally, it's under $100 for a team.
Okay. Students and parents sometimes ask and want to know what's the transportation situation from campus to games. How does that work?
It's a great question. We, a lot of the times for farther events, will get buses.
Okay.
Just like you would if you were, a varsity team, and if we're traveling to Philadelphia, we'll probably get a bus for the team. If there's a local competition, generally the students will carpool, and kind of by that measure, it's for local things.
Mhm.
And if it's kind of beyond that, a lot of times we'll rent vans from Enterprise, who we have an agreement with, so we rent vans, and the team will take a couple of minivans as needed to their competitions.
Okay. This past August, we had a really great opportunity to open up a new facility on our campus, which was coming for a long time. Can you talk a little bit about the Bobby Valentine Health and Recreation Center?
Absolutely. I think that it was something that our campus desperately needed. Our students kind of craved it, was having a recreation facility on campus where they can go and do a variety of things. And our facility is pretty unique in the fact that we have a lot of things that other campuses don't have, one of which is a 6-lane bowling alley. That's where our women's varsity program practices, our men's club team practices there as well. And we also have it open every single day of the week for general student use.
Okay.
Typically it's at night. We also have a rock wall, which if you pull up on campus, you can see the rock wall kind of in all its glory in the front of the building. We also have a large basketball court where our men's and women's club basketball teams play their home games. It's where our club teams practice and our intramurals occur. And we also have a state-of-the-art facility in terms of equipment and treadmills and workout equipment. We also have an athletic training room for both, one for club sports and one for some varsity programs that are also utilize the building.
Okay.
So there's a lot of unique things within the facility, and it gets a lot of use. On a typical day, we have close to 800 students, graduate or undergraduate, come through and use it.
The last question is in going back to getting ready to come in. What type of forms should students be expected to submit prior to a season starting?
Great. They are Do Sports Easy which you'll be able to find the link on our website.
Okay.
We'll have the instructions of how to start registering for a sport, and then it'll take you to another website which is called Sportswear. Sportswear is for all of our athletic training paperwork, and everything's electronic now, so the only thing that you're required to actually upload would be the physical signed off by a doctor, and physicals are good for 2 years, and so it has to say you're cleared for sports, but it'll have you fill out a bunch of other questions, again electronically, and then just upload the physical, and then you're good to go. And then within about 2 to 3 weeks, the athletic trainers will go through all the paperwork, make sure everything's in order, and if they have any questions, they'll definitely reach out to you.
Okay. So one of the things that you should get involved with at Sacred Heart, if you have the ability or the passion for, is club sports. Whether or not you're thinking about Division I club and intramurals, those are all things that you can find out by talking to our staff. And then for those of you coming to Sacred Heart in the near future, you'll be able to meet with these areas at orientation as well. But you can visit the websites that will be listed on the bottom of our screen right here to find out more information about all these programs. So we thank Raymond, Director of Club Sports, for joining us today, and we hope to see you on campus soon.
Thank you.
We're going to take this time to talk about the Greek life opportunities here at Sacred Heart University, and joining us is the Director of Greek life at the university, Nick Frias.
Hi,
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So Nick, this has been a growing area for the university over the last few years. The amount of students involved in Greek life is really skyrocketed. Can you talk about the philosophy of how Greek life fits into the student life model here at Sacred Heart?
Yeah, so the 4 pillars of the Office of Greek Life are service, brotherhood and sisterhood, scholarship, and philanthropy. So those kind of embody what it means to be a member of the Greek life community at Sacred Heart. And all of our chapters, in their own unique ways, bring forth events, service components, part of their ritual, to really live out those values.
Now, students have an idea of what Greek life is based on things they've seen in the movies, based on things they see on social media. Can you talk about how our Greek life programs differ a little bit than the expectations some students may have?
Sure. So you're not going to get the Animal House mantra. You're not going to see The Neighbors, that movie. We really pride ourselves on being committed to service and leadership and scholarship.
Okay.
And that's, I think, the big thing that our students take away from joining one of our organizations. So yes, they are social organizations. They are going to reward themselves by doing brotherhood events on or off campus, having an off-campus formal each semester. But their main mantra is service and leadership, and I think that was what makes us unique.
And we do not offer Greek housing.
No, we do not have recognized fraternity or sorority housing.
Okay. So let's break it down a little bit more. So let's first of all talk about the sorority aspect and how many organizations there are.
Sure. Currently we have 8 sororities, all from the National Panhellenic Conference. And we actually just finished our extension process to add a 9th organization in next fall of 2020. And that new organization will be Delta Delta Delta.
Okay.
I can announce
Tri-Delta.
it now. Tri-Delta, yes.
Yeah, all right.
Yes.
Okay. Can you mention can you mention the sororities that we have on campus?
Yes, so we have Alpha Delta Pi, Kappa Delta, Kappa Alpha Theta, Delta Zeta, Chi Omega, Phi Sigma Sigma, Theta Phi Alpha, and Zeta Tau Alpha.
Okay. And what is the recruitment process for students looking to go for a sorority?
Sure. So all students who wish to go through the formal recruitment process to join a sorority must register online through our registration process.
Okay.
For women, there is a $10 registration fee, and that helps offset some of the costs that the Panhellenic Council puts forth for the whole recruitment weekend.
Okay.
The recruitment process is a condensed and very structured weekend process, which consists of 3 rounds. So in that first round, you're going to meet all organizations and learn a little bit about their sisterhood. And then from then on, it's a mutual selection process. So to go to the second round, you're going to rank your top 5. And then as long as any of those top 5 mutually invite you back, you will go to them on that second day to learn about their philanthropy.
Okay.
After that second day, it's another mutual selection process, and you'll visit up to 2 organizations on the last day to learn more about their ritual process. And at the end of that third round, that's when students going through the recruitment process will rank their top 2 and then hopefully receive a bid to their top choice organization.
If a student doesn't get a bid during their freshman year, can they go back out again for another organization? And in the same aspect, if a student misses out in recruitment because they may not want to do it their freshman year, can they do it after their freshman year?
Absolutely. As long as any student is a full-time undergraduate student at Sacred Heart University with a cumulative GPA of 2.5 or higher, they can register for the recruitment process.
Okay.
You can go through as a junior, as a senior, there really is no end date.
Okay.
And we see women wait their sophomore year, their junior year. We do caution though that the formal process is always in the fall semester. That's when every organization participates. Some organizations will participate in the spring, but it's never a guarantee that any or all will.
Okay. Now let's talk about fraternity life on campus. So let's first talk about what the process is to becoming a member of fraternities at the university.
Sure. So there also is that 2.5 cumulative GPA requirement,
Okay.
And students must register online through that registration process.
Okay.
The good thing for the men is there is no registration fee at this time. And it's much different than the Panhellenic process. So for the Interfraternity Council, or IFC as we call them,
Okay.
it's really quite lax. So to start the recruitment week, there's a joint IFC event where every fraternity is present, where students interested can kind of learn the gist and the basics of each organization.
Okay.
And then for the next 2 weeks, each organization hosts 2 individual recruitment events. Some will also host interviews to try to get to know interested students on a little bit more of a personal level, but students can pick whom they wish to go out to
Okay.
meet.
Yeah.
So whereas the women, you're kind of encouraged and instructed to go visit all of them, the men, they can pick and choose. And of course, we encourage them to keep an open mind to go to all, but if John Smith only wants to go to fraternity A, then he's entitled to do so.
Okay. And what fraternities do we have on campus?
We currently have 4 recognized fraternities on campus right now. That would be Beta Theta Pi, Kappa Sigma, Pi Kappa Phi, and Omega Phi Kappa, which is unique to Sacred Heart because that is our current only local organization.
Okay. How many students across the university are currently involved in Greek life?
Yeah, so it's approximately 1,600, a little bit over that right now, which is a really healthy community, which equals to about 1/3 of the Sacred Heart campus.
Okay. And all the information about Greek life can be found at our website at sacredheart.edu. And we'll put the banner up here at the bottom so you can see it right there. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact the Greek Life office at any time. So we thank Nick Frias being with us today representing Greek Life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Happy to be here.